and I'm doing this for fun. You know, it's not quite as much. This is a little more fun than changing the oil in your tractor.
That makes sense.
Everyone's got at least one book in them. So the saying goes. But extracting that book out of the author's mind and onto paper, or onto a computer screen, can often be challenging. But the journey is far from over even when that part is done. Then comes the editing and proofing, and several other steps that need to be taken before the gleam in the writer's mind is translated into an actual book that occupies a shelf and may be read, reviewed, sold, and does everything else the original idea was supposed to do. Today's world of book publishing is altogether different from the pre-digital era. Back then, it was basic. You shopped your idea around to agents and publishers until you got to yes. Then the publisher would edit and print the book, market it, and help sell it. Nowadays, particularly for new authors, there are more ways to get a book into print or online through an ebook. But until you're established as an author with a proven track record of success, there's more of a burden placed on the writer to do or arrange for more of the background work that traditional publishers used to do. Dave Cannell is a local Manchester resident who now has 2 books out under his name with a 3rd one in the offing. He sat down with Carolyn Haley of Documania, which is her own editing and support business for writers, and Deb Raga, who heads up the Northshire Bookstore's Shires Press publishing arm, to discuss how books complete their journey from manuscript to finished product.
Me is I take a whole bunch of words on paper and I hand them over to Carolyn. That's all it is. I hand her lots of words. Then she goes through it and tidies up, the things that I don't know how to do, such as punctuation and past tense and pretense. And she takes all those words that I put on paper and gets them assembled and makes them organized and straightens that out and takes some clarity, and she has some questions. And then we take that manuscript from that thing and we turn it over to this young lady, Deborah, who actually, like a magician, turns it into a book. She's going to clean all that up.
Oh, yeah.
You can still
See, he's an expert at what he does.
He's going to clean it all up. Yeah.
It's usually a couple of months once a manuscript is ready before it rolls off the printing press. And not every manuscript that's submitted makes it to the final stage of printing, Carolyn said.
I generally get independent authors, and they run the entire range from A to Z and back again on what their subjects are, what their skills are, what their personalities are, and so on and so forth. And the majority of them are writing their first book. And the majority of those have not spent the bulk of their life studying story craft and writing craft and everything. They're writing it for whatever reason, like you're a memoir, for example, but I get a lot of novels. And in that case, somebody is really actualizing their personal vision or dream. So you often have a lot more passion than you have skill. And to get the book out into the world so that other people will read it and other people will buy it and people will give it wonderful reviews and everyone in the chain will end up happy, 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 the author usually has to take it in the chops pretty hard to advance their skill to meet those criteria. That said, it's also completely subjective as to what anybody in the world thinks is good. The hardest thing for a lot of authors to learn is that once you have turned over the manuscript to another human being, it is now a product. It's not your baby anymore, and that's a very hard transition for a lot of people to make. But you end up with this, which who knows is going to read.
And then there's the marketing side of it, Deb Raga says.
I recommend, no matter what, some form of social media, a website if you can, have the skill or can find somebody to do that for you. Email communications are a great way to get tools out there. At the end of the day, nobody is going to be more passionate about marketing your book than you.
Authors should probably plan on budgeting a couple of $1,000s for editing, marketing, and publishing expenses.
It could be a couple thousand by the time you're done with editing services, design services, the publishing package. And then most authors buy, books for themselves to, as Dave has done, sell at a variety of events and market. So, a few $1,000s is about average. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You can go way higher and lower too. One of the reasons the ebook thing took off is that it's very simple, comparatively speaking, for authors to do it yourself. for low outlay and low distribution. And it's Smashwords, I think. You just sort of hand them a Word file and they
Yeah, we don't.
do something to it. But I mean, I'm just giving him the scale.
Yeah.
And you can also pay many thousands, and depending on what service you buy and whether you're a savvy shopper, or if you have, like, we're in the art department here, and these types of books with a great deal of images are quite another story from just a text with it. So Deb has the right of it that it's going to be a couple $1,000s before you're done, but it can be done on a super budget, and it can also just be stupendously expensive.
But it all starts with finding the right editor or person to work with to turn the idea and manuscript into a publishable book. A typical book print run is usually around 50 to 100 books for a first-time or relatively unknown author. For the GNAT TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.